How to do, folks. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to do today was to make a very interesting observation between poor level guns and higher level guns. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a direct comparison on the range between a cheap gun, the Taurus TH9, and a higher end gun. It's not a high end, but higher end gun. My Sig Sauer P226 Legion. Now the P226 Legion is enhanced. It's enhanced with coatings and special things to make it run better. It's got the best magazines, the best trigger, the best sights, and everything that Sig Sauer has to offer right now. The Taurus TH9 is a model that is a single action, double action version of the G2 pistol. So what that means is these two guns are roughly running in the same style of pistol. They're both 9mm. I have 15 round magazines for both. What I'm going to do though is just do a function and accuracy check with both of them. Now one is significantly cheaper. One is $1,200 to $1,300. One is $300. But what I'd like to do today is just show what are you actually paying for, okay? So that's a big thing that we're gonna do today. And I think that the conclusion will surprise you, but I don't think that it will surprise you that much. Okay, everybody? So where we are right now is that I have a firearm that costs me $300. And you're going to look at this and go, $300. It's either going to be a complete piece of crap or it's going to be somewhat decent and a good value. Here I have a gun that costs me $1,250. Much more expensive, much more elite, so to speak. Now I've already made a video about the TH9 stating that it's an awesome, cool gun. That being said, it has some of its shortfalls. So I think one of the things is that we're going, what are you paying for when you get a higher end pistol like this 226 Legion compared to this $300, $350 budget gun with a budget light? I've said that this was a great gun and that I had no problems with it, and I still don't. But that being said, I need to know, where is the diminishing returns and where is that $1,000 going in this 226 Legion? In this particular case, I think that this test is going to show exactly where that money goes to and why you might consider spending that much more money. All right, so let's go through a couple of the results that we had seen here. When we first started shooting, as you can see, I can't tell you the exact first groups here that I started shooting, but what I started to find right off the bat was that immediately my groups with the 226 did not take any practice. What you can see though is that my groups with the TH9 were pretty wide at the very beginning. Now the TH9 itself, there's nothing wrong with this gun. It doesn't malfunction, at least that I noticed. I have a couple of bad rounds that I did notice earlier in the day, but I don't really want to blame the gun on this one. That being said, all of my groups with the 226 really were very close right off the bat. The TH9, I noticed, at least in a couple of these, I would get a low group and a high group, right? And I would find that generally speaking, a lot of my area was wider with the TH9. Now, what I did find though, over time, is that my TH9 groups did eventually start to tighten up. This one here, I just had a couple of flyers here, but in general, I started getting good groups. Now, what I have here though is that the groups with the 226 were always pretty consistent. One of the things though that I had noticed is that at 15 yards, my groups with the 226 were still pretty good, and then the ones with the TH9 though were kind of all over the place. You see, this is my 15-yard group with the TH9. So one of the things that I had learned is that I needed more practice with the TH9 than with the 226 to get rounds on target. This one can still get rounds on target without any problems. But with the development and the time that has gone into this pistol, one of the things that I had learned was, at least right off the bat, is that my accuracy seemed to be right on point. Something that I hadn't really noticed before until I had compared it to a gun with significantly less money invested into its ergonomics, its weight balance, its trigger feel. This is just a gun that works. It has everything that you need and nothing that you don't. But this one
has everything you need, plus the things that make it easier to shoot. Okay, so what I found in this endeavor is that it took 60 to 70 rounds of practice with this TH9, at least for me in my ability to shoot, to be able to get what this 226 Legion can do right off the bat with absolutely no practice at all. And I have shot an equal amount of rounds through both of these. So don't think that I have any particular more time in with this 226 Legion. I've actually probably spent more time with this Taurus. That being said, the Taurus is a gun that works just fine and I have no problems with it. It's just that what you're paying for in this is the ability to have instantaneous, no practice accuracy. Now, if you're going to actually count on something with your life, well, that's something to really consider. And that thousands of dollars might be spent training to try to get as good with this right off the bat as you do with this with lots and lots and lots of practice. So, much like a Glock, and I'm not comparing this to a Glock, I need to practice to get my rounds on target. With this 226 Legion, or perhaps my VP9, I don't have to. And I can see that the money that goes into that gun is for their development and for the process of making a gun that is very, very inherently ergonomically easy to use and something that I can be accurate with without really having to spend as much time practicing. Now that's something that's interesting. And I really think that that's something to consider when you're spending thousands of dollars on a firearm.
I think a good thing to think about when considering a gun like this, the TH9, you're going to consider its price, its reliability, the ability generally to use it in any life-threatening situation, its ergonomics, and obviously the only thing that's really important is the value and the usability. But when put in a situation in which I as the shooter have to compare it to something like this, something that costs 3 to 4 times the price, I still feel like my value in this firearm is so much more present when the targets go on paper. Even in double action mode in this, I was much more accurate than in double action mode with the TH9. Now I think that the TH9 is absolutely perfect as something like a nightstand gun, or perhaps a carry gun if you're going to actually put the rounds in and spend the time to practice with it. However, with this, I can feel much more confident in the fact that whenever I draw this pistol, I am somehow more inherently accurate. As a musician, one of the things that I had learned over the years is that it's the instrument that helps the musician bring out their best. It doesn't make you better at what you do, but it simply brings out every little bit of ability that you do have, and it helps enhance that. If your fundamentals aren't very good, a gun like the TH9 is not going to assist you. But if your fundamentals are sound, a gun like the 226 Legion is going to give you much better performance right off the bat without having to spend as much time practicing. That being said, you need to practice all the time, get into your local range, spend as much time as you can getting rounds on target. This has been something that I wanted to explore just for myself, but it might help you understand some of the methods and the ways that people explore choosing the right pistol. And it's simply looking at something on a page that seems like it's good value, like in an advertisement or on a web page, and says, this is the best pistol you could get, when in reality, it may not be the best pistol you could get, because it may require much more training to get used to. For me, the Glocks, I need much more training and time. When I was good with my Glock, I was great, but I'm always great with this pistol. So that's something to consider. And I hope that you are at least able to learn along with me and get through my stuttering and some of my problems with this video. And I appreciate anybody who wants to learn with me. Thanks a lot.